Welcome to IBA Podcast. Let's talk. This is your host Muhammad Affan, and today we are doing an episode on earn wage access. We have a co-founder with us. Can you introduce yourself, Mr. Niran Rehman?
Yeah, hi, my name is Niran. Thank you for having me on. I am the general manager and founding partner for Neem Paymenow. Really excited to be here.
Right. So Niran, a lot of people don't know you. Can you
Yeah.
introduce yourself as a background? How did you reach
Yeah,
Neem Paying?
so I've had an interesting journey. Started off in the media with CNBC Pakistan. I was an anchor there. Eventually then moved into the financial sector, was a banker for 12 years. Some of the places I worked for were National Bank and UBL. Then eventually got into the data and analytics space, was with Dun& Bradstreet, was the chief business officer there for a while. Joined startups, was with YPay as a founder for a very long period. And just recently, I had the pleasure to meet the founders of Neem, where we have launched what I would say a very successful earned wage access business in Pakistan.
Right. So a lot of people don't know what earn wage access is.
Yeah.
Can you simply tell us what is earn wage access?
It's really simple actually. If you are an employee at an organization, if you've earned the money, you have a right to have it. It's the most simple way of putting it. If I earn 30,000 rupees net in a month and you employ me, I earn 1,000 rupees a day. Every time I come in and I clock into work, I earn 1,000 rupees a day. It is only the employer who has decided to pay me at the end of the month. So pre-industrial revolution, when the assembly line was launched, what used to happen was people used to come to work, including the managers. They used to take their daily wages and leave. Somewhere down the line in the industrial revolution, probably some consultant or some banker decided that it's better to pay people bi-weekly or at the end of the month. But theoretically, if you have worked for a certain period of time, you have already earned those wages. And giving access to those earned wages is quite simply earned wage access.
Right. So I think from a simpler terms, it's like getting your salary what you work for.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
Right. So
Exactly.
that's so. What misconceptions have you faced? A lot of industry has
Well,
around that.
the first answer is it a loan? Is it an
That's the
advance?
idea.
Is it a loan? Is it an advance? Does it cost something? The idea to enable the employee, Pakistan has 60 million people who are employed in the workforce. To enable the employee, you have to first talk to the employer and make them understand that it is the emergencies which are required in the middle of the month need to be facilitated by the employer. So what we sort of do is that there are some standard human resource elements or human resource rewards people do. They could be cafeteria vouchers, insurance, advances, etc. But when you apply for an advance or you have OPD insurance, it doesn't solve your individual problem. My problems are very different from yours, right? I have multiple dependents. Someone might be living with their parents. The only way my problem and your problem can be solved is not by a cafeteria voucher. I cannot take the food from the office home. My problems are solved if I have instant access to cash. And your problems are also solved if you have instant access to cash. So earned wage access, with the technology that we have, getting paid in the standard monthly pay cycle, unfortunately does not work for employees who require cash, especially to make critical payments and emergency payments in their day-to-day lives.
Right. Well, after I think you have been launched quite a while. It's been quite a while. So how has the employee reaction been?
It's been fantastic. Honestly, the pace that we've grown in the last year and a half has been really impressive. And what we have realized is that some of the largest employers in Pakistan, who are some of our customers, TCS, some of the biggest labor suppliers in Pakistan, Son of Safina is a huge customer. Some of the biggest labor suppliers in Pakistan are currently working with us, and they all have realized that whatever we can to enable our employee is what the requirement for the day is, because we have been through in the last 3 years in Pakistan there's been such a huge burden on the salary class in terms of the inflation and in terms of the increase in taxes. So it's been a double whammy, and the relief which has come in has been very negligible. We have seen people moving away from the conventional workforce and moving into stuff like freelancing and consultancy and having 2 to 3 jobs. What we're trying to do is trying to get the employers to enable them to retain talent. And the only way they can do that is if they provide something outstanding, which will allow the employee to remove the financial stress from their life. Nothing actually removes financial stress, but how do you reduce financial stress? Because currently, employees are physically present, but mentally they're not there. Mentally, they're thinking about their credit card bill, their electric bill, their utility bill, their gas bill, and what if an emergency occurs? What if what if there's a huge rainfall and you need to get your motorcycle fixed? What if the roof starts leaking? Those are not budgeted expenses, and you would need to ask your employer for an advance. Your employer is not going to pick up the phone at 2:00 in the morning at Jinnah Hospital when you need 10,000 rupees to cover a bill. So earned wage access allows that employee to reduce their financial stress and honestly feel a little bit financially free. And it allows that employee to get their dignity back. They do not have to borrow from friends and family. They do not need to go to loan sharks. They do not need to go to these Chinese applications, which, as you know, we call them suicide applications. Very 1,000% interest. You download it, the money sort of comes in, and then when it comes time to collect, a lot of people go literally out of their way to make sure that they meet those terms. So we're trying to reduce financial stress. We're trying to empower employees to have some sense of freedom when it comes to managing their expenses.
Right. So what I've understood with the earned wage access is that, for an example, and an employee comes in, he earns 30,000 a month, and every day he is around to make around 1,000 rupees. And if he has work for 10 days, he needs 10,000 rupees. And if he can go on the application on Neem's and access that 10,000. So what's the end game? How does the company benefit? How do you benefit if they get that money?
So firstly, it's a B2B2C model, which means that a large employer sort of enables us. We consume their payroll. Once we consume their payroll, we enable the employee. So then first it's the business, which is our client. They choose us. It is actually the business which is choosing us for the employee as a benefit, as a financial wellness tool. So how do we make money is your answer. So it's a per transaction charge, which we call a service fee. So the service fee is based on, as you know, there are multiple payment mechanisms out there which charge a service fee. Just like that, we have a service fee which is affordable to the blue collar workforce, because at the end of the day, we are for those people who are living paycheck to paycheck. And when you build a model for people who are living paycheck to paycheck, like EY data shows that even if you earn 300,000 rupees net and you have a minimum of 2 dependents, you are living paycheck to paycheck. So if an emergency expenditure comes in, or you have an unexpected outstanding bill, there is no safety net. Keeping that requirement in mind on what can be affordable to the employee, we have a very, very minimal service fee, which allows us to generate a top line, which is labeled under. It's a very good question, because it's not a pure capitalist model, and it's not a socialist model. So what we call it is conscious capitalism, where we do an affordable service fee to make sure that the financial wellness message is still secure.
Right. So again, Pakistan does have several earned wage access options, and their business model is again similar to yours. Most charge 100 rupees per transaction, probably.
It's a bit more than that, but yeah, sure.
Around 100 rupees. Back in a few years ago. But how do you compare yourself? When you have these kind of other options.
That's an excellent question. So we are unique. Okay, the first thing is that we are agnostic. Neem Paymenow is an agnostic service. When I go to my employer, we do not tell them where to bank, where their payroll should belong, what their payroll cycles are. You can bank with 20 different banks. We are agnostic. We consume payroll irrespective of where you bank. As long as there's an IBAN number to facilitate and enable the employee, it doesn't matter to us. We're not a bank. We are a pure earned wage access service. The second way how we're different is very important. We are actually a financial wellness firm. Financial wellness, Neem is a financial wellness company, right? So the definition of financial wellness is serving the underserved. In financial wellness, in our application, we have gamified financial literacy modules, which have been vetted and approved by the Security Exchange Commission of Pakistan. We're whitelisted. In these financial literacy modules, When you ask a you're from the financial sector, right? We know that you understand the financial markets.
Right.
That's a different developed form of financial literacy on what is the net asset value of a mutual fund. Our level of financial literacy in the gamified financial modules are dependent on what is the difference between a need and a want. So when we encourage savings, the first thing, the application is in English and Roman. So the first thing that we do is we make them understand the difference between a need and a want. Once that gamified financial literacy is completed, how to prevent scams. We're 100% Sharia compliant. So what are the best Sharia tools and funds out there to save? Financial literacy for us is the basics, the absolute basics. Right. What is a mutual fund? What is a savings account? What is the correct way to save? How to say fuzul kharchi aur zulman kharchi ka farak? What is the spending on a meal? What is the correct? And we in our application we allow them to budget. The third way how we're different is we're a human to human company. So we won't sign a large contract and say, okay, our job is done. We would actually spend resources to train their employees, and that's why HR companies love us, and that's why we won a lot of contracts, is because our trainings are also not around what is earned wage access. Our trainings are around how to manage your finance better so you can have a better quality of life and lead a more financially responsible life, and also on top of that have access to your earned wages so you feel financially secure and financially free. There are also other ways how we're different. We are different. Human to human contact is very important to us through the trainings and the enablement. We are agnostic. Another reason how we feel that we're extremely different is we bring a lot of credibility into our model, is that we are pure earned wage access business. We're not in the personal loan business. We are not in other value added services business. We believe in the model where if you've earned it, you should get it. Right. So we're not in the longer term frame of personal loans or B2B interest-based financing.
Right. Again, it's still, end of the day, it's still financing. And, we were talking about credit history. Pakistanis don't really have credit history because most people, Pakistanis are living under the radar in credit.
Sure.
So, how does Neem work in developing that credit history with them?
It's a good question. We don't play that large a role because we haven't taken direct exposure on the employee. The idea is that if you are a permanent employee or you have your credit history and your credibility is based on your employment. So if you're a large organization, I keep talking about TCS because some of the stories which we've gotten from TCS are so close to our heart, is that your credit is based on how effective you are at work. So we have a time in, time out registration integration, right? The more you work, the more access you have to your earned wage. So our dependency is based on how you perform for your employer. Credit histories are also based on if you start borrowing on your credit card and you're late for a credit card payment, you should have a negative credit history. But that is not how we work. How we work is that if I take access to my earned wage in the middle of the month, let's assume, right? I know that I have consumed my earned wages and that amount is going to be deducted from my monthly paycheck. So automatically I will use my earned wage responsibly. So I know that because it's an auto reduction, that amount which I have consumed, I will make sure that I consume it responsibly. So the model is so beautiful that is structured in a way that will make you financially responsible, even if you're not there are two people in this world, savers and spenders. True. Right? So that's what it is. So when you spend, we want our clients and our employees to spend responsibly, and to do that, because it's the 1st and the 5th of the month, the chances are you haven't worked that long in the month. So your ability to borrow is very low. But if you have an emergency in your house, you just got paid. So you should have the money to facilitate that emergency. But God forbid, there's an emergency on the 25th, you have access to your earned wage to facilitate that emergency. So what we want is responsible borrowing, responsible advances, responsible access to your earned wage, and through that responsibility actually lead a better and more productive life.
Right. So what do you think is the current challenges stand for Neem?
Sure. There are plenty of challenges. The first challenge is on the financial literacy side, making them understand that this is not a loan, this is not an advance, this is a basic earned wage. And the biggest challenge is making employers understand that it is the employee that needs to be empowered. Sometimes the decisions you make as an employer are your decisions for an employee, but it is the employee that you need to empower to ensure that they have all the tools around them to lead better, more secure, financially free lives. The challenge is a psychological one, and it comes around the fact that anything that can reduce financial stress should be taken positively, because at the end of the day, it's free for the employer. We don't charge anything to the employer. If we have to integrate all the work which is done to enable the employees done by us, it's absolutely free for the employer. So what is the hurdle? Financial stress leads to emotional stress leads to physical stress can have serious problems, not just in the workforce, but in social problems and problems when it comes to productivity as a human being. So we are working with dynamic HR managers who understand the importance of the reduction of financial stress, and that reduction actually increasing productivity. That is the biggest challenge, and we're getting there. And platforms like this really help in understanding the importance of reducing financial stress and the repercussions financial stress have to other more complicated psychological issues.
Right. That's, we talked a lot about Neem. I just wanted to go towards your personal journey, right?
Sure.
So we talked, before the interview, we were talking about your journey at CNBC.
Yeah.
So, we talked, why CNBC closed down. Why do you think why financial literacy, Neem's core value is financial literacy?
Even like the CNBC is a really complex mechanism, right? We're going through price earning multiples of certain stocks, and we're talking about monetary policy and the impact of aggregate demand. And every year the budget is our election, and we create this ecosystem around of analyzing expenditures versus savings and which sectors are performing, large scale manufacturing. It's great. And it's a great form of education for IBA students and people who graduate from IBA, right? The great thing about Neem is that we really are working from the ground up. So with YPay, for example, right? We were talking. With YPay, we were trying to create a savings education culture within the students of Pakistan. With Neem, we have to really, what I've realized is in this career is that we have to go down to the basics. Earned wage access is just a part of it. The SECP and employers love us for the fact that the amount of time which we spend with their employees, just making them understand the difference between a need and a want, and saying taking an advance and a loan for opulent marriage for your standards is not the reason why you would take a loan or an advance. Taking a loan and an advance for buying a brand new suit or leveraging yourself to get a nicer car is not financially responsible thing to do before your necessary expenditures are met. These are things which Pakistan needs. Unless we do not work in these things, especially with the salary class, which is got a lot of financial pressure, psychological pressure to make sure that their quality of life and their dependents are in a secure financial place. Unless we do not get these basics right on controlling and budgeting, and making people understand what expenditures are all about and what those repercussions can have, Pakistan's saving rate is not going to go up. So Pakistan's savings rate, for it to increase, we have to work on the basics of what financial literacy is before we talk about the price earning multiple on CNBC. That's the way I see it.
Right. So towards the end, I just wanted your advice, anyone who is starting into financial inclusion, financial literacy, or in the financial services, what advice would you give those entrepreneurs?
It's difficult. Do what you're passionate about, right? The financial model needs to make sense in your mind. Look into the basics and try to understand where the opportunities are, and be passionate about how you're going to make those opportunities into a reality. Do not get too lost in processes and structures, because the more you think about them, the more fear comes into your mind. Make a decision, implement, execute, and I promise you, with hard work, dreams can easily become a reality, provided you don't look back and ensure that the implementation and the execution is directly linked to the dream that you believe in.
Right. Thank you, Niran, for coming in, and I hope all of you enjoyed the conversation and learned a lot about earned wage access, financial literacy, and financial inclusion. Hope you can start your journey as soon as possible. मिलते हैं अगले एपिसोड में. Allah Hafiz.